All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Money Talks. I'm your host, Bill Barhydt, CEO of Abra. We've got a lot to get to today. So we've got folks on Clubhouse standing by. We've got already questions coming in on Twitter, YouTube/Periscope. So we've got our support team as usual, ready to answer questions. I've got a bunch of talking points I want to get to, and let's have a little fun. It's going to be a little bit shorter today, probably about 40 minutes. But happy to go longer on Clubhouse if there's a bunch of people there. It looks like there is. So yeah, it's if you just search for Ask Bill Anything on Clubhouse, if you want to join there, that's totally fine. And otherwise, I can see people joining on YouTube as well. All right, so let's get to it. I've got a bunch of things I want to talk about this morning, and of course, we can't have an up-to-date crypto conversation without talking about the latest missings from Elon Musk. So you got to give him credit. Elon is a walking meme, and he knows it. Um, you know, yeah. So in a Clubhouse event on Sunday, he said the word Bitcoin, and the price obviously went up as soon as he said the word Bitcoin. After he stopped saying Bitcoin or talking about Bitcoin, the price came back down. He prefaced his commentary by saying, "I have to be careful what I say. I don't want to move the markets." Yeah, well, at least he knows, right? So you can see here his latest meme posts. And when it comes to Doge, and you can check out our primer on Dogecoin on Abra.com, he obviously doesn't care about moving markets. So I don't know if it was a drunken or Rogan weed-induced tweet storm. We'll never know for sure. Musk took to Twitter to promote Doge as the people's coin. The results are obvious to everyone reading this. Even without looking at the price went up. Duh. Then it went down. Right. Duh. So look, folks, as I've said 100 times and will keep saying, gambling is gambling and investing is investing. If you want to let a few bucks ride on Doge, knowing you can lose 100% of your stake, please go right ahead, but be smart. You're not going to change your life to the upside investing in Doge, but you can lose a lot of money if you're not careful. It's okay to have fun with it, just be responsible. And if you're not sure what to do, then doing nothing is just fine. You can always just enjoy the show and focus your crypto investing on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Stellar, Cardano, Litecoin, Digibyte, and a bunch of other interesting protocol tokens and projects that I think have significant ups and can actually change the world in a very positive way. All right, so enough of Elon. Let's talk about Wall Street Bets for a second. All right, so what's going on with Wall Street Bets? So the dust is clearing on this entire GameStop short squeeze episode, and we have a pretty good understanding of what really transpired with our Wall Street Bets, which is this Reddit subgroup. GameStop, Melvin Capital, which is the hedge fund that apparently lost 53%, according to, I think it was a Wall Street Journal article I read, 53% of its fund in January. Of course, Robinhood and all the other key players. My buddy Peter McCormick, host of What Bitcoin Did and the Defiance podcast, created a fantastic episode of Defiance explaining what happened. It was pretty cool to get to take part among a really cool and fun group of people. And take a listen. Let me know what you think. Did you like it? Is there anything we could have explained better? Hit me up on Twitter and let me know. All right, so let's talk about Bitcoin for a second. So big run up this week, which is good to see. But most importantly, Bitcoin is maintaining its upward channel and is perfectly modeling what I keep talking about as this now famous stock to flow scenario that we continue to believe has very strong merit. Stock to flow seems uncannily accurate over the last several years. If it holds, and I believe it will, emphasis on believe, I think we'll see 100K Bitcoin this year or higher. Now think about it. 100K Bitcoin is only about 2.5x from here. Many stocks had much bigger run-ups than that last year. So we're looking really good here. From there, the next stop might even be 500K. I don't know, but first things first, let's get to 50, then 100. Patience. Now, I keep saying it every single week. I'm going to say it again. Expect pullbacks, right? Expect 30% pullbacks and don't panic. If you're panicking, then you're doing it wrong. And you may actually have too much exposure to Bitcoin if you can't handle the 30% pullbacks. I look for the pullbacks. I often invest more in the pullbacks. I'm very long Bitcoin and Ethereum, so I'm not looking to go too much more long, but I will go incrementally long on occasion. I just bought more Ethereum when it got down to about 1100. and I'm really happy that I did. Actually, Ethereum is looking even more bullish to me right now. I don't have the chart here. Next week I'll dig in on an Ethereum chart, but Ethereum has almost completely clean air in front of it, which is, as we say in Formula One racing. The only headwind for Ethereum right now that I can see is the insane gas fees for on-chain transactions. But 99% of transactions are off-chain, right? So, and happening on exchanges, and long-term holders and traders generally don't care, as everyone believes Ethereum 2.0 fixes all of these issues anyway. So to that end, I actually believe we'll see 5K Ethereum or potentially higher this year. So anyway, buckle up. It's going to have retracements just like Bitcoin. It's actually going to be more volatile than Bitcoin. All right. So speaking of more volatile, I think 5K Ethereum would have an unbelievably huge halo effect for altcoins, DeFi-oriented tokens, comp. These coins will likely rise even more than Ethereum, but will be wildly volatile. All right. So be very careful with alts. Set your expectations accordingly. I put a very small amount in, as I've mentioned many times. I tend to trade. I don't long-term hold most alts. That does change on occasion, but by and large, it's about getting in and out. All right. And you can check out the daily winners in the altcoin space and see what's going up and down in the Abra app. If you go to the portfolio screen in the Abra app and you click on the add button, which you see, in the left most app here in the upper right, you click on add, and you'll be able to see all of the top movers of the day. And I expect to see many winners in that world in the coming months. All right, so actually, since I'm already here on the Abra screen, let me give you a quick January update. Take a quick look at questions here, how we're doing. Oh yeah, I see. Okay, so keep the questions coming. We'll get to them in a minute. I've got a few people raising hands here on Clubhouse. We'll get to you in a moment as well. And let me just get back. So let me just give you a quick 90 seconds here on what's going on with Abra. So unbelievable January. Actually, it's been an amazing few months. Certainly our best run ever. The entire business basically doubled twice. It doubled and then it doubled again. And so we're seeing big growth. Actually, it's been an amazing few months. Certainly our best run ever. The entire business basically doubled twice. It doubled and then it doubled again. And so we're seeing big growth in all three of our businesses. The interest accounts, thank you so much for the support there. As I mentioned many times, that's how I manage my cash and crypto now. That interest account service has seen explosive growth, and we're now managing hundreds of millions of dollars in assets across the entire portfolio of USD stablecoins and crypto assets. The in-app exchange and trading service has experienced explosive growth. It was an amazing January for us with record exchange and trading volumes across the board. And so a lot of this growth is also coming on the heels of this newly launched global wire service, which allows you to make unlimited deposits into the Abra interest account from pretty much anywhere in the world. I don't know of any other service that does that. And so lastly, our online marketplace via abra.com enables buying of crypto via 50 different, I think it's more than 50 now. I think I got to get an updated count, but it's huge. And so the marketplace has more than doubled in volume over the past few months, and we're excited to announce that more countries and more payment options are coming. And so I think we're going to try to get the marketplace features back into the app itself so that you can do all of it from the phone too, which I'm pretty excited about. And then lastly, we've got some really big announcements planned for the next 90 days, never mind the rest of the year. And so we're not going to spoil it all, but we've got actually a couple of really big surprises. One I think is industry changing. And so I promise you won't be disappointed, and just keep coming back here to check on the latest. And I think you may have seen that we quietly via our web, and we're going to start promoting it now, launched our new Abra Platinum service. This is our new OTC trading desk. OTC stands for over-the-counter services. OTC trades are done off exchange, so that you aren't using the app directly, but the funds can land in the app, right? So our Abra staff, working with our bank partner Prime Trust, are executing the trades on your behalf. The OTC services are designed exclusively for Abra customers interested in any of the following. If you want to do large digital asset trades, but don't want to take the funds off of Abra, if you're depositing funds in the Abra interest account and then you want to swap between assets, So like I said a couple of weeks ago, I had a bunch of cash in my Abra interest account as a stable coin, and I wanted to move it to Ethereum. So I had the Abra OTC desk do that for me, and then move it back into the Ethereum wallet to continue to earn interest there. And if you're planning to eventually borrow cash using digital assets as collateral, you can also use the OTC desk. Just contact us there, and that's meant more for our corporate clients right now, but high net worth users have access to borrowing cash as well. So generally, we're talking about people who want to trade in 50K increments, but if you have a larger balance, we're happy to help you with close to any amount. Okay, so if you go to the Abra website and click on Abra Platinum or OTC services, you'll find that. Okay, so as I said, I'm happy to turn on questions. Just keep raising your hand here on Clubhouse, and let me get to a couple of questions on YouTube while we're waiting. And so Ty says, wondering if Bank of America will be allowed to fund Abra again. And Ty, to my knowledge, there's no problem with Bank of America funding via Abra. If you go to the Abra app, click on Add Money, click on Bank, you'll be able to choose Bank of America as your bank. And I know I've done that in the past. I don't use them anymore, but I used to. And so feel free to go that route. And let's see, a bunch of questions about coins. So let me talk about adding tokens to Abra. We do take input from the community, but we don't pre-announce tokens. We don't give any insights as to the decision process for tokens. But I'll say a couple of things about that. If you hit us up on Twitter, we do take that into account, that people are interested in a certain token. But we track hundreds of tokens, and you can see like there's probably 150 or so in the Abra app, and so we're very careful, about which tokens we launch. Okay, so let's see, and we will be launching more in the future. I think we have a question on Clubhouse. Let's see. So Dylan, I don't know if you can hear me. If you're there, you're welcome. Dylan, can you hear me?
Yeah, hey Bill, Dylan here.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. I guess I want, if I could start by paying you a little bit of a compliment on your little media machine for how you are running everything external with Abra. It's really cool to watch and learn and see you do all that. So thanks for kind of doing all that in public.
We appreciate that. The team, I will be glad to hear that. They put a lot of work into this.
Yeah, man, it all looks good. I'm watching you on YouTube. I'm talking to you on Clubhouse. I'm living in the future, but it's the present. Right. Pretty cool stuff.
It is cool. So what's up?
The main reason I want to talk to you, man, I'm a crypto reporter, and I reached out to Tim and Lomesh last week. I'm not able to actually. I'm kind of cheating by talking to you right now. I'm trying to get an interview with you, man, because from what I can tell, you guys have just been crushing it the past 2 weeks. I feel like it's all loosely connected to the GameStop stuff. You and Abra seem to be kind of in the right place at the right time, and I want to talk to you about it.
Okay. So sure, I'll follow up with Tim later today and ask him to reach back out to you, and we'll figure it out.
I appreciate the heck out of it, man.
All right.
Thank you.
Cool. My pleasure. All right. Let's see. We've got some more questions on YouTube here. Some folks asking in Asia. So the folks in the U.S. who don't know or in Europe don't know, we actually allow people to transact in cash in certain markets, like in the Philippines and Guatemala, parts of the Middle East, and other countries. And so people are asking that. So if you're going to an Abra teller location and they don't have the ability to process a withdrawal because they don't have funds or anything else, definitely send a message to support at abra.com, and we'll follow up with them. It very rarely happens, but I've seen it happen on occasion. So my apologies for that. Yeah, and let's see. So another question from Javier. I was wondering if Abra is going to be adding ADA, Cardano to interest earning accounts, or any other tokens for that matter. And so that's a good question. So let me talk about the interest earning account for a second. So to earn interest on cryptocurrencies with Abra, what you're basically doing is is you're letting us lend those tokens out to earn that interest using highly collateralized positions, meaning the borrowers are collateralizing those positions in different cryptocurrencies. And basically, it's the borrow demand that drives that interest. Now, some certain tokens, such as Cardano, also support staking. And in the future, as staking becomes more reliable and the rates become reliable, that's something that we're also very interested in offering through the Abra interest earning account. And so that might end up being one way in which you would get Cardano or even Ethereum 2, for example, or EOS or other tokens in the Abra interest account. So that's something that we're looking at as well. Okay. So Ty, if you're following up on the Bank of America question, if you have questions on that, then please definitely go to support@abra.com and send them a note. And if you can send a screenshot even along with your ID, that would be really helpful. Okay. So by the way, Abra support is also answering questions. If you have questions on Twitter or YouTube, and if it's more of a user, like an individual specific question, we can answer it there. So I've got another, I'm going to let David here on Clubhouse. So David, good morning.
Hey, thanks, Bill. Just want to say first off, I've really enjoyed your technical in-depthness over GameStop. I've learned a lot in the last, week or two, so I just really appreciate that. My question to you, and forgive me if this is not what we're talking about, I think it is, the audio was cutting out for a while in the beginning.
Okay.
But I just had a question on your thoughts on market cycles. And I've been a hodler for this last cycle, and my plan is sort of hey, I don't think I can time the top, but I'd rather not hold through a whole nother crypto winter. And so I'm sort of figuring out my own strategies of how do I sort of dollar cost average out and to capture some gains and not hold throughout the next winter. So I wanted to get your sort of your personal thoughts, your strategies. What do you sort of tell people that are maybe, I'm not a trader. I don't day trade. I basically hold and look at it over the long. I'm a believer of the 4 years. And again, forgive me if I know we've been talking about Abra. Just by the title of this, it said crypto Bitcoin investing, so I didn't hear the whole intro.
Yeah, I think your question is basically around where is it going? I'll take it specific to Bitcoin. Oh, yeah, it sounds like I have a poor connection on Clubhouse. Let me turn off the Wi-Fi here, and hopefully this is better. I am actually not in my normal really good connection. So if people online are having a poor time hearing me, I apologize. It'll be back to better next week. That's part of why I wanted to do a abbreviated show. So basically what David is asking is where the market's going. What do I see, in terms of the future here? Is there going to be a cycle for what's happening next? Look, I don't have a crystal ball. I do spend a fair amount of time, analyzing global macros because they affect my business. They affect, all of our customers. And what I think is happening is I think that the government is in money printing overdrive. We're going to have another couple of $1 trillion in stimulus checks, which is going to have a massive, I don't, kind of risk on asset stocks and metals don't have a big run up as a result. They're going to basically a bubble of some kind. I think crypto becomes a huge winner in that because that's not a bubble, right? That's basically like a global reset happening in front of our eyes where, all of this new money is finding its way into crypto, which is basically creating a new baseline for what Bitcoin in particular is worth. And I think that as DeFi takes hold over the next 5 years, and it is a multi-year transition to DeFi because we need scalable systems. It's a macro transition that's happening with crypto. I think crypto is going to look. I actually am shocked at how well the stock to flow models. My macro stance on crypto. My macro stance on crypto is if you have a new deflationary asset introduced to the public, it will be hoarded over time, and that hoarding will come in stops and starts because a lot of the public can't afford to just completely take their money and put it in something else, right? But now you have high net worth investors coming into Bitcoin in massive droves. You have institutional investors starting to dip their toe in the Bitcoin water. So I actually think we're pretty early when it comes to what's happening with Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think that with all the money printing, we're still going to continue to see these pumps, via these likes of our Wall Street Bets. So let's talk about that for a second. Our Wall Street Bets is basically the first decentralized hedge fund. Think about that for a second, right? The way DeFi in the Ethereum world is now allowing us to have certain types of transactions with no off switch, right? Our Wall Street Bets has showed us that crowds, the wisdom of crowds, can actually make bets with no off switch, right? Now the government has tried, right? The Depository Trust Clearing Corporation and the SEC and others have tried to slow this down, but they're going to be unsuccessful because you saw the people's reaction. It's the first time I ever saw Senator Cruz and Senator Cortez agree on anything. And they certainly seem to agree on this, that consumers shouldn't be allowed or shouldn't be forced to stop making bets that they want to make on Wall Street that hedge funds can make. And so what this tells me is that it's going to be volatile. There's going to be a lot of new money coming into the system. And I don't see how certain assets don't get a significant run-up in price as a result of all this new cash coming into the system. So David, that was a lot more than what you were asking, but hopefully in there was the answer to your question and comments.
Well, so do you believe that there will be like another crypto winter? Do you think we'll have like a big run up and then another 60-70% drawdown over like another 4-year period?
Sure. I don't look at it as a crypto winter. I just look at it as the natural kind of oscillations of moving towards a new asset class. So if the answer is, do I expect to see significant pullbacks on the way to $1 million? Yes, I do. And if you're not able to stomach that, then either put in less or don't do it. But yes, I do expect significant pullbacks along the way. And it's not a winter, in my opinion. It's the gyrations in moving towards a completely new asset class that we've never had as a society before. We've never had a guaranteed deflationary asset class with a mass migration to that new asset class. And so nobody fully knows what to expect, but I've been at this enough to know now it's going to be a volatile ride, and you're going to have transitions. So that I actually think we're on a third transition now, right? We had a bunch of techies who loved the tech, were enamored with this idea of solving the double spend problem, and we're all still here. But you had a transition to a bunch of retail investors who, thought they could get in on this new asset, back in 2017, and a lot of those people ended up coming in, very late in that cycle, and basically were investing at had an ROI, a return on investment floor, which was very near the high, and so those people had to wait a long time to even see a return on their investment, and many of them even wrote it off. And so now what we're seeing high net worth investors come in, right, at a new floor, which is, in the 30s, and they're taking the money off of exchanges, which means that they have a very long-term view, because otherwise they would just keep it there ready to sell at any given moment. And they're not doing that. A lot of them are putting the money, for example, or the crypto, in things like Abra exchange accounts, Abra interest accounts, because they can now earn interest knowing they're not going to sell anyway. Right, so that's kind of I use the analogy of like hockey. If you watch hockey, every few minutes there's a line change. Well, we're getting these line changes in investors in crypto that really are mapping to where we are in its evolution. I expect a 5-year out change of companies, large companies, S&P 500 treasury coming in, large institutions coming in, and we're going to see another line change, 4 to 5 years out when that starts to happen. And that's going to get us to 1 million and 2 million Bitcoin, in my opinion. Because again, if you want to put this in corporate treasury at large scale, there's clearly not enough Bitcoin to go around. So in between, can we have 50% pullbacks or black swan events like March 12th of last year? Of course, I fully expect it. But that's the way it goes. And so, yeah.
I guess I kind of like look at two types of pull downs. Like one is like the 30, 40, 50% pull downs that last for a month or two, which I fully can stomach, and I don't been through that for 4 years now, and I'm fine with that, and I know.
Oh, we lost you there, David. Oh, we lost David. So,
it's of 2 years where it's like below. It takes 2 years to come back up, and that's sort of what I'm trying to take some off the table and not have to ride for 2 years. And I agree, like I'm going to be here for many years.
Yeah.
But that's sort of the difference when I think of as a crypto winter versus like a,
yeah.
you know,
yeah, so
30% pullback, no big deal.
Yeah, okay. So, and thanks for the comments, David. I really appreciate it. We lost you there for a second, but I did get. I'll try to translate as best as I can, and then move on to the questioner. So basically, yes, there's going to be periods where we might go sideways for 2 years or fall like we did last time. And if you look at the stock to flow chart, if you go to the Abra newsletter, for those of you who don't know what it is, it basically maps the accumulation of Bitcoin over time to these run-ups in price with sideways movements and then big run-ups again. And it's been uncanny at actually mapping out the price increases. Now, to David's point, this is a log scale, right? Which means that the chart will still look accurate even if there's a 30% fall in the price or even a 50% fall in some cases. The chart will still look pretty accurate. And so if you think in exponential scale and logarithmic scale as opposed to linear scale, it starts to make sense. But that's very difficult for most humans. Even investors have a very hard time with that. So one of the easiest ways to deal with that, right, is to take money off the table. If there's a big run up and you're not comfortable just letting it grow and dealing with the dips, take some profits. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't really have a plan right now for profit taking because I don't really know what else I would be more excited about putting money in. I'm certainly not going to leave it in cash. So I'm okay with those dips, right? Because I know where the dollar is headed, right? But again, that's just me. All right, David?
Yeah.
Thanks for joining, bud.
Thanks. I appreciate it, Bill.
Yep. So we'll take one more on Clubhouse. So Dennis, is it Dennis or Dennis?
It's Dennis.
Dennis.
I love seeing you here.
Yeah.
Always great hearing.
How you doing?
Mine is twofold. So for the first fold, you talked about indicators, and this might help David a little bit too. Are there any indicators that you look to or any certain resources that you have for people to check out indicators just to get an understanding of the economy and different sectors of the economy?
Yeah, so traditionally, yes. That's gone somewhat out the window in the last couple of years, partially because we've printed more money that we don't have on dead trees over the last 2 years than we had in like the previous 20. And so looking at M1, M2 money supply, interest rates, oil prices, and the fact that China won't buy the debt. So all of the kind of traditional macro indicators that I would normally spew have kind of blown up and don't help me right now. And so
you don't look at them as often then, right?
I do, but look, traditionally when it's China buying the debt and it's a petrodollar, the only thing that matters is going to be interest rates and oil prices. And if that's all you look at, you can get a pretty good idea of where we stand. Okay? That's not true right now. China won't buy the debt. There's no more petrodollar. We keep printing money without end. And we don't care that there's nobody really there to buy the debt anymore because the Fed will just backstop with more quantitative easing IOUs. And so I don't know where it ends. I really don't, except to say it's not looking good right now. I understand that a lot of people are suffering, and I don't want people to suffer. But I don't want the system to collapse. I don't want Bitcoin doesn't need the existing system to collapse to succeed. Ethereum and DeFi don't need the existing system to collapse to succeed. They're going to succeed anyway. I would rather society move to a truly deflationary asset based on real assets rather than just guns and courts, which is what the dollar is ultimately based upon right now, since it can't be based on anything else. But I have no visibility into that happening, and it's gotten 50 times worse in the last 5 years, right?
So would the Kung Fu, cashing in on the Kung Fu bonds, would that be this final nudge in the U.S. economy?
I don't have a response to that. So,
Okay, all right.
yeah, hit me up on Twitter. We could talk about it. I think you're going to lose everyone if we go there. But
okay, sorry.
That's okay.
My second part was about Abra, actually.
Yeah.
So you said you offer interest to any Abra customer who decides to deposit with you, right?
That's right.
So my initial thought would be, is there a credit that you offer, and then you ask for a payback at an interest rate? Like, how does that process work?
Yeah, so right now it's only inbound, meaning you can earn interest on your deposits on Bitcoin, any stable coin, Ethereum, Litecoin. As a matter of fact, I have so you can see here on the screen all of the the tokens that we offer interest on. And your second question was about the other way, which is where you can effectively borrow against your deposits, so maybe borrow cash against your crypto deposits. And all I can say there is that I have nothing to announce, but keep watching. And so it's a logical kind of next step, but I'm not going to give anything away today. So
It's just hard to wrap my mind around the interest rate, or like
Oh,
rising on your end.
it's very simple. Yeah, it's very simple. I'll explain it. So, and I've written about this. We talk about it all the time. I know we get a lot of new users coming in, and so I don't mind repeating. I apologize for the people who are watching every week, but this is super important, so I'm going to repeat myself constantly on this. So we designed the Abra interest account and the trading system effectively be the crypto bank that we ourselves as Abra founders wanted and Abra employees wanted. So I use Abra for 100% of my cash and managing my day-to-day crypto holdings, all of my Bitcoin, all of Ethereum. So how do I pay interest, or how do I earn interest on the Abra account? Okay, functionally, I earn interest daily, and it gets paid weekly. So I'm getting compounded effect. And my favorite push messages, I say this all the time, are the push messages I get on Monday mornings when I receive my interest payments on my TrueUSD, my Tether, my Bitcoin, my Ethereum, my Paxos, and I actually have a little bit in each of them. Mostly I have my Bitcoin and Ethereum in there. And so how is Abra earning this interest? Okay, so a few things are happening, right, in order to maintain a really reasonably conservative system that can guarantee that we're not losing money. So that includes the security of the systems, which is kind of the baseline. Then how do we earn interest around lending, right? And then lastly, how do we manage deposits and withdrawals very quickly so that if you are earning interest, you can still withdraw your money, within minutes or hours, right? Depending upon the amount that you've deposited. So on the security side, we work with Prime Trust as our trust bank partner, along with Fireblocks, who's a really high institutional grade custody partner to manage all of that in our system. And then what we do is we work with institutional borrowers, and there's dozens of them now that work with us, and they'll borrow. They actually apply, all right, in the background through our institutional lending desk to become partners for this product. And then we put them through about a 1 month or so due diligence process where we look at their financial statements, their balance sheets, use of funds. Are they already borrowing crypto? How much leverage do they have, if any, in their system? How much cash do they have on hand versus liquid cash versus what their borrowing positions are? And then based upon their needs, we'll make a decision as to whether or not we can lend to them, what the interest rate would be, and how much collateral they have to put up, right? So in some cases it would be 100%, some cases it would be more than 100%, and if it's a huge company with like a tens of billions of dollars in the balance sheet, it might be a little less than 100%, for example, and there's a range, okay? And then depending upon the movement in the price of the crypto, so let's say the price of Bitcoin goes up and the position is collateralized in dollars, then they're probably at some point going to have to put more dollars in as collateral in order to maintain the initial collateral requirement. And if they don't do that, we immediately sell the Bitcoin we sell the dollars into Bitcoin in order to put them in compliance in this example. Hopefully that makes sense. And so what this does is it gives you a very liquid system for maintaining compliance with all the borrowers to safely generate the interest for you, which makes me very comfortable for putting my own money into the system. The last piece, of course, is managing deposits and withdrawals, and we don't lend 100% of the deposits. We maintain a pretty healthy double-digit percentage as reserves, so that any consumers coming in and out, if you want to withdraw money, you can quickly do that without having a long wait. The terms of service honestly say 7 days, but we've never had anybody wait more than a day. And we pride ourselves on business day, but we pride ourselves on the fact that we really built a safe and manageable way to do this that has so far scaled into the hundreds of millions with no problem. Okay.
Wow. Yeah, that's super exciting. I'm so ecstatic to see what you guys have in the future.
Cool. Appreciate that. So thanks for the questions. I'm going to take one more on Clubhouse, and then I've got some other comments. Let's see. Let's go. We've got a couple people here. So I'm going to add a couple of people, but Bailey, if you can hear me, Bailey, are you there? I think we may have lost Bailey. How about Sean? Sean, are you there?
Yeah, hey Bill, how's it going?
Good, good. What's going on, man?
Thanks so much for this. Actually, it's funny. I'm good friends with Brittany Kaiser. She was one of my roommates back a few years ago. So
Yeah.
she's the one that got me into the space.
Yeah.
So she had told me you're a great resource to ask any questions
Yep,
to.
yep. Brittany, I spent a lot of time in Haiti working on mobile money systems. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a great girl. I mean, obviously I've gone through some stuff, but
Yep, yep.
really
Yep.
awesome.
So
Really
what-
intelligent as well.
So what can we talk about?
Yeah, sure. I was going to talk to you about just, I kind of jumped in a little late, but I was curious about the APY and just having the ability to loan it out just to get some returns.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to hold for
Yeah.
as long as I can imagine.
Yep.
But it just seems like an additional benefit that I'd be interested in.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So we pay 10% on USD. We pay up to about 5% on Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think Bitcoin might be 4.5, Ethereum 5. Again, the rates depend upon the market that I described via the last question that we just talked about. And to my knowledge, we've never lowered rates. I mean, it might happen. And I shouldn't say it might happen. Over years, the rates will go up and down. But at least for the first, it's been almost the better part of a year now, we've never had to lower rates, which is great. And we've raised rates, I think, on Bitcoin and Ethereum since we've launched as well, and dollars for that matter. But the rates, yeah, they're fantastic, and it's such a well-run business for us. I'm so happy with what the team has built, and yeah, I mean, it's really a great way to manage custody, and I strongly encourage people to take advantage of it.
And that would be through Abra?
Yeah, you just literally in the app, at the bottom of the app, right? I'll bring up the So you see here on the left screen, that's the trading screen. And on the right, you see at the bottom button is the earn screen. And you click on earn, and you can move the money you deposit or the crypto you deposit. You simply move into the interest earning account, and it automatically starts earning interest from the minute you make the transfer. And that's it. That's all you do. And if you want to withdraw the crypto for any reason or sell it back into your bank account, you just move it back into the trading screen, and you can withdraw or sell or do whatever you want.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. That's really great.
Cool. Thanks for the question. Oh, well, it looks like we actually have more people. So I hope, let me know on YouTube if this isn't working for you, and I will, I'll obviously scale it back, but it looks like we're getting more questions coming in here. So yeah, let's go with Juan. Juan, can you hear me? You are on Money Talks.
Yeah. Can you hear me too?
Yeah, we hear you. How you doing?
Cool. Fine. I was just gonna ask you one quick question.
Sure.
Back in quarantine when the dollar was like falling a lot, the Bitcoin price was around 11,800.
Yep.
And I decided to invest $1,000.
Okay, cool.
Right now I'm up like 200% and something like that. So
Sounds about right.
yeah, I'm not asking for financial advice or any kind of source, but I would like a recommendation for you to me. Like, I don't know, would you hold if you were me, or would you sell some and get profits? Or
Yeah, so Juan, this is a very personal decision. I don't know the details of your financial situation, and I don't want you to disclose them here on the show. But I'll tell you that if it depends, I actually look at Bitcoin investing in two different ways. Okay, I have an allocation target to my entire investment portfolio. Okay, and that's what I've done, for example, with my kids. My kids actually own stocks and they own Bitcoin. Okay, and there was a target allocation. Now, because Bitcoin has had a huge run up in price, they're over that target allocation because stocks haven't kept pace with the price of Bitcoin. So that begs the question: do I reallocate, or do I leave it an outsized part of that portfolio allocation? And you have to decide for yourself. Now, what I've done is I've actually created two different pools of Bitcoin. I've created one pool that I am simply not selling, and I don't consider as part of that portfolio allocation. And it's like a significant part of my personal net worth because I'm such, like Raul Paul says, I'm irresponsibly long Bitcoin. I don't consider it irresponsibly long, but I'll use the same phrase anyway. And I have no intention anytime soon of selling that Bitcoin, regardless of how it fits in. And then I have another piece which is part of that portfolio, and that I might prune back and take profits and reallocate on occasion. I haven't yet, but I might. And so I look at them in two different ways. But you have to decide based upon your own risk tolerance and where your own income. Are you able to allocate more? Where are you allocated across the other universe? It's a broader question than that, and hopefully I'm helping and not just confusing you more. But you need to sit down and think about all these things and what matters to you and your future, right? And so don't just make the decision in a vacuum and not like think through. And so personally, I think it's okay to hold Bitcoin long term. As I've said many times, I have no intention of selling. But it really comes down to your own situation and what matters for you. I'm not an investment advisor. I'm not an RIA. I don't give financial investment advice. All I do is I say what I do for me, and hopefully it might help you think through what makes sense to you. And I know a lot of you have wealth advisors or financial planners who don't understand Bitcoin, and that's frustrating. And so maybe I actually have heard that a lot of them watch this now and actually understand better what's going on with crypto so that they can help their clients integrate it into those portfolios as well. Because this is new for everyone, including wealth advisors, right? Anyway, sorry for the rambling. I hope that helps a little.
Yeah, I did. Thanks.
Sure thing.
When I really never have heard about the allocations, and so I actually have two that I didn't know. The first one was, the first time I invested, the one I just said, back in when it was 11,800, and the second one was actually after I received my Christmas money.
Yep.
And I think that one, that's my second one, and that is the one that I'm gonna be using like to sell Bitcoins, and
yep.
The other one will be the one using it like to just leave it there and wait till it's going up.
If I think personally for me, cash gifts in Bitcoin are a fantastic tool because you have way less incentive to sell in the short term, and you probably have less mental gyrations about the pullbacks that I talked about earlier, and are more comfortable letting it go for 3, 4, 5 years. Similar to when I was a kid, we had these things called the savings bonds. You would be given a $50 savings bond, and you could hold it for a few years, and then it would be worth $50. And the person who gave it to you didn't spend $50 on it. They may have spent like 25 or something. I don't know how it worked. But this is kind of like that, but even better, right? And so I love the idea of gifting Bitcoin in that way as well, and just looking at it as a long-term savings tool is fantastic. All right, thank you, Juan. Appreciate the questions.
Thank you very much, Bill.
My pleasure. Let's go to. Wow, I wasn't expecting. This is great. I'm constantly amazed at Clubhouse. So. Khadija, I don't know if you're there or if you can hear me. I tried to move you up. Let me try again. Okay, Khadija, can you hear me?
Yes,
Did I say your name right?
Yes, you did.
Oh, wow. Cool. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So what's up?
Okay, so I'm from the Bahamas, and I wanted to be able to deposit directly from my Visa or MasterCard, but I'm unable to do so. It said that the service is unavailable because it's kind of pricey to have to upload to another exchange or wallet and then transfer over to Abra.
Yep. Yeah, so I don't know a lot about where we are vis-a-vis any Caribbean islands. I haven't checked. I'll do that after the show, but I would suggest you send an email to support@abra.com and list out exactly which country you're in, which payment methods you want to use to fund the wallet, and they'll be able to respond on exactly what the best option is for you. I wish I knew offhand. I don't. Maybe somebody on the team can Slack me and I can mention it. But you can certainly wire money in, and which only makes sense if you're doing above a certain amount, because your bank is probably going to charge you a wire fee. But if you're doing like if it's $50 or $100, don't do a wire. But if it's thousands of dollars, then a wire would make sense. And be very careful with credit card purchases for crypto. We don't charge fees for that at all. So with Abra, we don't add fees to that, but our partners do, and those fees can be significant. So just be careful. Be careful with that. You don't want to do too much via debit or credit card. But if things are changing quickly and you want to do a little, it's totally fine. But if you want more details that you can't find on the website, then definitely send an email to support@abra.com, and the team will get back to you right away.
Okay, thank you so much, Bill.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question. I love it. Let's see. How about Dan? Dan, are you there? Hey, how's it going? Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. What's going on?
Oh, sorry about
That's
that.
all right.
Yeah. Anyways, first of all, thanks for taking the time. This is great. I actually wanted to ask you a question about last year during March when we saw the big price breakdown.
Yeah.
To 3K or whatever. I wanted to ask you if you can give us a little bit of insight on how your company held up during that time because of the extreme volatility and the liquidations, and kind of what you learned from that process in terms of risk, and if you made any big changes after that, kind of learning from that situation.
Sure. So that's a great question. So let me just set the context for people who may not have been actively looking at crypto then, especially if with all the COVID stuff going on. So early last year, you remember we were all going into lockdown in the February timeframe, and late February the stock market started to pull back dramatically, and then around March 11th or March 12th, we had a big crash in stocks and as well as in the crypto markets, and Bitcoin fell to, actually I think it was high 3,000s intraday and started to bounce back. But that was a huge pull, over 50%. A couple of comments here just to set up the answer. So at Abra, we have our own money, meaning from that via our partners, regulated partners, we have customer funds, whether it's crypto in custody or stable coins or whatever. And those funds are completely separate. They each other. Okay. So Abra at any given time is definitely invested in crypto. And when I say invested in crypto, I mean our own funds. Pay our employees with, not all of it, but a good portion of it is in crypto, which we've been very happy about, obviously, over the past year. Customers are making their own investment decisions. So if you're invested in crypto on March 11th of 2020 and March 12th, yes, you saw a big drop in the value of your Bitcoin, but that has nothing to do with Abra. That's just based upon the fact that you're holding Bitcoin. Abra's treasury, the small amount that we had at the time, also lost 50% in that intraday, and then obviously recovered over time. But Abra was fine because we're very well capitalized. We have plenty of cash in the bank, and so we're very comfortable with the losses we can suffer in the short term on any Bitcoin or crypto holdings for our own money. Again, not for customer money. Okay. So the point here being that customer investments, they're customer investments, and they go up and down, and they're not affected by what Abra does with its own money, and vice versa. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. When people are taking out loans, though, and the price goes down, aren't they getting liquidated if it goes down too far?
Yeah, so today we only lend to businesses, and that's related to the question I answered before. Yes, so if you put up collateral for a loan as a business, and the price of Bitcoin, for example, moves in the wrong direction versus the loan, you have two options. You either have to put up more collateral. Well, you have three options. One, you can pay off the loan faster, and we have businesses that do that. They would rather pay off the loan than put off more collateral. That's fine. And then two, you can put up more collateral, and usually you have like maybe 24 hours to do that, depending upon the partner. And lastly, we can sell the collateral for you to put you back in compliance. And to be honest, it's only the first two options that ever happen. No one has ever put Abra in a position to sell the collateral. They've either paid back the loan immediately or met the collateral call requirements that we make. And that's all automated at Abra. It's not even a discussion. If the price of crypto falls to a certain level or even rises to a certain level and that requires collateral, our automated system will simply notify the business partner that they have a collateral call to make, and they do it. It's as simple as that.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, because I know there was a little bit of a worry during that time with BlockFi and Abra and companies like this that are providing this service, and I just wanted to see if there was any
It's a fair
So,
question.
thank you. I
It's a fair
appreciate that.
question. And as I keep saying, and I'm going to keep repeating myself, these are questions that I asked for my own money when we designed the service. And I said, look, I'm going to put all of my money into this, all my cash and all my crypto. I want to understand all these things. And more importantly, I want to be able to explain it so that when Dan comes on crypto, on Clubhouse and asks me, I can answer it. And so I also, lastly, I sit on the investment committee that every week reviews the due diligence for new businesses that we onboard who might be borrowing, and all of the the requirements that we have for them are based upon this due diligence that we do very regularly. Okay.
Awesome.
Cool.
Great. That's great. Thank you.
Well, we're already over, but I'm going to take a couple more questions, and then we'll end the live broadcast. And I'm happy to continue on Clubhouse for anybody who's there. I hope people online don't mind that we're going Clubhouse. I kind of like the live as opposed to just all the text, and hopefully that works. So let's see. We've got Ronick, and I'll bring you up first. And then,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can. We need to get some more ladies. Feel free to jump up and ask some questions. We want to definitely get you up here too. But Roddick, let's go. Let's do it. What's going on, man?
Not much. Thanks so much for doing this. My first time that I joined Clubhouse, I sat into one of your sessions and I felt like I learned a ton. So,
Oh, cool.
I'm thankful that you do these, and I've been a bank investor for the last 5 years, and kind of U.S. publicly traded banks, so kind of understand how the banking system works. And I was really intrigued when I went and looked at your website, and was just really curious about your business. I apologize, I missed the earlier part of this session, but I'm curious, like, how do you think about one, what leverage ratio to run your bank, and how much capital to hold, and what regulatory requirements are you or aren't you held to?
So banks and Abra, and banks, I should say, traditional banks in the banking system, and what I would call Abra as a crypto bank, which uses other partners' licenses in some ways, are totally different in terms of what we are capable of doing and what we're willing to do. A lot of the same laws apply, but a bank will be way over leveraged versus like what Abra is willing or able to do, like night and day, right? That's why you can end up in a bad scenario with a run on banks, because the collateral that they have for a lot of the loans are physical assets like your mortgage. Well, if I got 50% of my customer base can't make their mortgage payments, and I have to go sell hundreds or thousands of homes, that's a big problem. And you can end like in 2007, where there was a real chance that we could end up with a run on banks. Okay, that it doesn't work that way in crypto, because we're holding liquid assets, meaning I can sell crypto in real time to put the borrowers back in compliance. That's number one. Number two, in the traditional asset world, everybody is over rehypothecating their borrow positions, which is basically a fancy word for saying, not only am I going to lend the collateral, but when I get collateral on that loan, I'm going to lend it again, and then again and again and again. And this creates a nightmare scenario. It's one of the problems associated with the GameStop, prime broker scenario that I described in Peter's Defiance podcast. You might want to take a listen. So that does happen with other parties in the crypto banking world, not at Abra. Okay, so that gives me more comfort that we can unwind loans if we have to. We've never had to, but we easily can if we have to, and simply by selling collateral and just calling in a loan.
Now, do you mind if I ask a follow-up question?
Please go ahead.
I'm curious, because I've thought about this concept before. There was an interesting article that I read a couple weeks ago, kind of comparing Tether to a bank, and it's obviously not the same thing that you're doing, but what I was wondering there, what the thought process I was thinking about with that, to your point about a bank run, is if the collateral value is dropping, right? If let's say it's Bitcoin, and Bitcoin crashes, and let's say it goes to $2,000, right? Wouldn't the selling pressure also affect the value of your assets as you try and liquidate it? Bank run, usually a bank run isn't a clean thing, right? You don't normally hear about liquidating.
Yeah, but I think you're conflating kind of how a company that is holding a virtual currency like this would be regulated. Generally, with somebody issuing a stable coin, you're licensed as a money transmitter. Tether's a little bit different because they're not based in the U.S. But like USDC, Paxos, or I think there's another one I'm missing. TrueUSD. They're all basically money transmitters who have to keep 100% reserves in the bank, and so it's a very different model than the fractional reserve banking that you're
Right.
describing. So it's just kind of a non sequitur. All right.
So it's almost as if you're just a super well capitalized bank, and you're not really holding much basis risk.
That's what
between your assets and
that's
your
what
liability.
that's what a stablecoin issuer is today. Yes, they are a well capitalized bank. I would actually claim 100% reserves because that's what the government is requiring, at least today. I hope that doesn't change, but yeah, that's what they require today. All right.
And is that standard in the U.S. versus other geographies?
I
Or how does that
don't
differ?
know about other geographies, but I suspect in most countries they're simply going to follow suit with the U.S. Because they don't want to have to, because they're not banks, so they don't know what else to do. There really is no other precedent in terms of what else to do except to require 100% reserves.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Let's see. I'm going to take one more question. We're going on the hour here. Let's see. How about Pat? Pat, are you there? No. Okay, Pat's not there. Let's try Mateo. Mateo, I think you're going to get... Oh, Pat is there. So, Mateo, hold up.
Can you hear me?
Hold on for a second.
Okay.
Yeah, Pat, we hear you. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for taking my question. I just run across your service recently, so I'm just curious. And if I ask some basic questions, I apologize. But
That's why we're here.
when I look at your thing, and I have a friend that wants to buy like 50 to 100,000 worth of crypto.
Sure.
Does that qualify as your platinum
It does.
customer for you?
Yeah.
And can he do it OTC?
Yes, that's what
Because-
platinum is. That's no problem. We do it all the time.
So, and you can, but can you, I misspoke, can you do non-KYC?
No.
Or is it that amount has to be KYC?
There's no amount that you're going to wire to Abra which would put you outside of some kind of KYC process.
Okay.
Just the
So
concept doesn't exist. If you're going to use a crypto trading service, you're going to be providing an
Right.
ID. Period. Full stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so there is no alternative out there. He's not doing anything nefarious. He just wants to do
Yeah.
non-KYC. So
I understand. I don't want the
Have you ever
government.
thought
I don't want
about
the
adding
government intruding. No, these are the rules. It's not our rule.
Okay.
The government sets the rules. The Patriot Act, the Bank Secrecy Act in the United States, for example.
Right.
I don't agree with them, but that doesn't matter. We have to follow the rules.
Right, I get. So anybody that does it non-KYC, like does hodl or BISC, they're breaking the law.
If they're
by
offering it to
definition?
the U.S. consumers to trade in real time, and they're taking possession of the funds, they're breaking the law if they're not asking you who you are.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting. Okay, well, I will have to. I've never come across reading that. I mean, this is a new thing. I just thought I'd help them, but okay, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
But please, have them
Have a
check
great
out
day.
have them check out Abra, and I hope it works for them.
I will. I mean, you can just it's always a phone call or just reaching out to your contact, right?
Exactly.
I mean, it can be
Exactly.
that simple. Okay.
Yep.
Thanks so much for answering the question. Okay, bye.
All right. So look, for the folks on YouTube. Oh, sorry. For the folks on YouTube or Periscope, Twitch, we're going to end the live broadcast now. If I'll stick around on Clubhouse for at least a few more minutes and get a bigger dialogue going. If anybody wants to come up on stage, you're welcome. So let me say happy weekends to everybody on YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, Facebook. Thank you as always for joining. Please click the subscribe button on YouTube. It really helps us get placement there. And it's actually helped. I keep saying it does, and we've seen it. We're getting, between all the platforms, tens of thousands of viewers now a week, plus Clubhouse and the newsletter.